and welcome back to Jenny's Journey, and welcome back to another episode of Vlogmas 2021. As you can tell by the title, I am going to be sharing with you some resources that I am still using. Even though I am now a practicing pediatric nurse practitioner, you still have to use resources, books, guidelines, evidence-based practice, stay current with the practice guidelines that are out and available now, because things do change. We are continuously doing research, we're continuously seeing things that do and don't work, and we're changing up practice and guidelines based upon the things that we are seeing now in the real world, in the clinical setting. While most of my resources are electronic these days, just because the world is steadily and fastly changing, or it changes at such a fast pace that it's easier to keep up with changes via the internet, basically, with your nursing organizations, the CDC's guidelines and regulations as well. So it's really important that you stay current with everything, and it's really important that you are signed up with various different electronic resources that will help you, or that will send you updated information, especially right now with the way things are evolving with COVID-19. You just want to make sure you're staying up to date on everything, because parents, if you're a pediatric nurse practitioner, will have questions, patients will have questions, and so you need to know where to go to get that updated information and provide the best and accurate information for your patients. So we're going to start off with a few books that I still use. But just know that a lot of the times they want you to, like I said, make sure you have access to an electronic source such as UpToDate, Medscape, CDC, AAP, and we'll go over all those. I'm going to share my screen with you here shortly, but you want to make sure you have a place where you can find the current up-to-date information, because unfortunately with the way the world is, books are not a thing of the past right now, but because it takes so long for books to be put into publication, sometimes that information is, I don't want to say old, but old. A lot of the things that we do in practice is just common. It's the common things that we see, and I'll go more into that when I do my tips for new nurse practitioners. But a lot of things are common. So while the practice for otitis media, for instance, or conjunctivitis stays the same in these books, using these books is helpful for things that, you know, we've seen for years, and we know, like, okay, this is how we're supposed to treat it. So let me just grab these books so I can show you which ones I'm still using. And of course, as always, all of my books, anything that I feel or deem that is a must-have as a nurse practitioner, is listed in my Amazon store, so make sure you go check it out. So I've mentioned this book time and time again. It is The Pediatric Primary Care by Beth Richardson, and I love this book because it's just a quick, easy, fast resource to use if you are looking for a specific disorder based upon body system, eyes, nose, ears, throat, your GI, ortho, things like that. This is a really easy resource, because dealing with kids, a lot of things are, how do I say it, very common and has not changed in some years time. So you can still use some of your book resources to look up things like Osgood-Schlatter diseases, pain in the area, which you typically find in in the ages between 11 and 14. And basically, it's an overuse injury. Kids who play sports, kids who play sports are used there, you know, moving and playing all the time. So things like that, or molluscum contagiosum, which is a skin lesion, a viral skin lesion, and like those are things that kids present with to the office and to the clinic that guidelines have not typically changed for, because it is a historic, or it's just something that commonly happens. But this is a really good resource for those, what we say, horses. When you're not looking for those zebras, these are good resources for horses that, you know, kids often present with, and they've presented with time and time again, and you know that the practice isn't going to change for that. So that's why I still use these, because a lot of my kids present with lots of just common things. All right, next up is the Bible of all books, is our Burns book for pediatric primary care. And the same thing, it's just that it's a bigger version of my Beth Richardson. I love this book once again because it of course goes into a little bit more detail of what you need to do for specific diagnoses, and definitely your pathophysiology, your background, how it happens, why it happens, how to treat it, things like that. So this is of course a more in-depth version if you're looking for that. And then this is my Bright Futures book, and it's the guidelines for health supervision of infants, children, and adolescents. And this is basically how I guide my well child exams. I also have a pocket version. I will show you that. It's downstairs in my work bag, but I'll show you that later on. Oh, here it is right here, actually, on the back of the book. And once again, listed in my Amazon store. And this here is a holy grail for well child exams, because it tells you everything you need to know about doing a well child exam from birth to 21 years of age, questions you need to ask, anticipatory guidance that, you know, it kind of guides you through your well child exam, and it helps to anticipate questions that parents may have about what to expect, you know, how to potty train, when to start feeding solids. It tells you what tests and vaccines need to be done, and such as testing for anemia, making sure you're getting a hemoglobin, testing for lead, vision, hyperlipidemia testing. These are things that you need to know and make sure are done at specific well child exams at a specific time frame in that child's life. So I have been wanting to actually just read this book from cover to cover. I have not had the chance, but it helps you to deal with families with same-sex parents, families with adopted children, families with foster care children, making sure you are guiding them in the best healthy way. Breastfeeding guidance, delaying solid food, safe sleep, safe environment. Like, everything you possibly need to know about taking care of a child is in this book, and it is a really great resource if you're a pediatric nurse practitioner. Right? So right now I'm going to start sharing my screen with you, and then voiceover is going to take over. Hi you guys, it's me via voiceover. So as you can see, I am here on the healthychildren.org website. And I love this website because it has lots of useful information that you can provide for the parent. So you can print off information or just provide the parent with the website so they can arm themselves with some great information. So next up we have kidshealth.org, which is powered by Nemours, and once again has some really great information, especially for parents, and it is written very basic layman terms so that they can understand and offer some really great and useful tips. As you can see, Nemours has great resources for parents. Here next to CDC, really get acquainted with this for your immunization schedule, because they're really your go-to for your immunization schedule. Next up we have Medscape. I use Medscape pretty much all day, every day. I use it to look up my dosing information for my medication. I look at it for updates on what's going on in the medical world, because they drop articles all day, every day. And if you're a member, they'll send them to your email, or if you have the app, it'll go straight to your phone. And here you can see I'm typing in different diagnoses, different diseases here, of where on the left you can see where they have differentials, your workup, your treatment, whether it is medical care, prevention, or medications that you may need to treat or manage this disease. And I love Medscape because I use it, like I say, all day, every day. It has pretty much everything you need to know about practicing. And then up next is going to be, of course, my organization, which is NapNap. And they're also your go-to for education and making sure you're staying up to date on anything that's current. Once again, if you had information about the new vaccine for the new approved ages of 5 to 11, this is where you would go to get that information, or even go to the CDC once again to get that new updated information. Alright, next up is Seattle Children. I use their constipation clean out regimen, and also they have lots of great resources on their website. I'm getting ready to show you here how to navigate it so that you can look up different conditions, once again different diagnoses, tells you what it is, how to treat it, any information and teaching you need to give to the parents. It's a really, once again, really great tool, great resource. And you know, with it being on the internet, it's updated very regularly, so it's up-to-date information. All right, next, back to my phone is, or back to Medscape on my phone. Once again, I use Medscape all day, every day. If you saw yesterday's day in the life, if you see me on my phone, this is exactly what I'm looking up. I'm looking up different medications. And also I use this pretty cool app. It's called 5-Minute Pediatric Consult, and basically you type in the diagnoses that you're thinking the child has, and basically has basic information, how to diagnose it, how to treat it, and education to give the parents as well. Really great, useful app. And then next up, once again, my immunization schedule via the CDC. It's an app as well, very easy to manage, navigate, and that way you can easily know if your child that you're seeing for the well exam, making sure you know which current vaccines to give them. Then also information here about the COVID-19, the booster, and things like that as well. Up to Date is another great resource, but you have to pay for it. Hippocrates, another awesome resource as well. You do have to pay for additional features for their full version, but there are some things that are free for if you're using Hippocrates. Like I said, I mainly use Medscape, but I know lots of providers, lots of students who love Hippocrates, so I really think it's worth the investment. I just never really learned how to navigate it to the best of my abilities. I do want to go back and learn more, but Hippocrates is another great one. And that is it, you guys. That is it. Those are all the resources that I'm currently using. I hope this video was very informative, and comment down below if you have any questions about any information that I presented to you. And as always, once again, those books will be listed in my Amazon stories. Thank you guys for tuning in to Janine's Journey. You already know what I'm about to say. You already know what to do. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you leave any comments you have down below. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure you tell a friend. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.